What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Double Doors podcast. Liam, I had a nice break. A good 2 week break coming back from Rio. I do have to say, my body was actually broken, just destroyed after I did the show. Literally, I got back on the flight at like 7 in the morning. I got into my apartment at 9. We did the show. What time did we do the show last time?
I think it was the same as this.
It was the
Like
same as. It
five
was the
Eastern, yeah.
same time. Jesus,
Consistency is key.
incredible, honestly, incredible move by me. Because I remember doing the show, and I remember being done with it, and I had dinner with my girlfriend, and the next morning I woke up and went, I am sick, and I had a 103 fever, and I was throwing
Oh
up,
yeah.
and I was like a mess that day. It was miserable. So and then I had to do Mustache Masters, and then we had Thanksgiving the last week, so we didn't do a show. So like I'm finally like coming back, and we just had our
Yeah.
big like meeting today, and I'm slowly like chipping things off of like the November calendar, and just like hoping that I can have a December off season to relax.
Nah, you didn't miss too much. November was a bit more slow. It's not like we had like any of this crazy shit like
No.
EG like cutting players or like commentators saying things about certain tournaments that we're gonna get to. Like,
Oh yeah, gonna love to break down that stuff. That's always my favorite thing to talk about.
yeah. That's slow news day. Slow news day.
Right, slow stuff to talk about. No, but we should talk about. Oh, and you know what? I didn't even put it on the list, but I don't think we talked about it. Did we talk? Would you talk? No, we talked about complexity at Elisa, right?
I think that was like the day that it was happening. I believe.
I can't
Like,
remember.
yeah.
I
But
don't know what's
we can go over
happening.
it again. Shit show.
We'll do it. No, I think it actually was to prepare for that. But yeah, so Elisa happened. The Blast Fall Finals happened. So we'll jump. I mean, the Elisa we could basically sum up as complexity once again, struggling to get to the end. Incredibly difficult. Unfortunate. That's kind of the road there. But
Yeah.
let's talk about Liquid having some very solid results over here at Blast, which honestly I'm thinking it's actually kind of okay.
Uh, it's fine. Like it's like a little bit disappointing. Like when you beat heroic in the first stage when
Yeah.
there's no crowd and like did that you had that chance to play in front of a crowd. Like there still wasn't a crowd to put pressure on you. Um, heroic went on to win it obviously and beating FaZe like that's legit.
Right.
But yeah, I think they really just kind of ran out of steam again. We just keep seeing them running out of steam towards the latter ends of these tournaments that they clearly were capable of winning. Because like I think I build this as like this was the redemption tournament for pretty much every team there, except for Fluxo because they had
Oh
nothing to
yeah.
redeem really. So
They're just there to be
they
happy.
they're just there. They're a placeholder.
Oh god.
Um,
Toxic.
but like every other team that was there were like either legit contenders or on their way up and had points to prove based on recent results, like
Yeah.
Rio. Obviously G2 didn't make it to Rio. They wanted to prove that like this team can work, which it
Yeah.
can't.
That yeah, clearly.
It
Clearly
clearly
issues there
can't,
are just like
bro.
God.
Like I have my issues with Nitro's fragging level, but I'm pretty sure like Huxley's level is even lower than Nitro's.
Oh
Who,
yeah.
yeah,
Like
like,
that's fine. We're doing
but
okay.
like I'm fine with this Liquid result. I want them to do better at global finals. Obviously, bigger stage, bigger cash prize. Like I don't think it's as a prestigious a tournament. Like I don't know what the crowd is going to be like for this because like
Oh, you
they've
think I
not
don't
done it.
even think there's gonna be a crowd. I think it's literally just like they're just gonna go to some place and do it.
Yeah,
It's
like
it's
Royal
weird.
Arena's banger. Like you're going to get a good crowd reaction there.
Right.
Like which is going to put more pressure on teams, obviously, as we've seen with like I don't know.
Right.
Like OC's only played on stage like what once. Like Pro League wasn't in front of a
Well,
crowd.
Pro
He
League is a
played
crowd. He did
he played Cologne.
Cologne,
Oh yeah, and Rio,
and
I
he's
guess.
done. Yeah, he did Rio. They were on
So
stage for every
two.
match in Rio.
So
Literally
two.
every match.
Like he's had two LAN experiences properly.
Right. Which I would say is pretty.
So
I mean, he obviously like the kid's got to get up. He's got to do better. He's got to do more. But I don't know. Like he's still. I think the problem is like COVID messed with the experience levels of these kids because they have a lot of professional experience, but they don't have a lot of in-person experience.
Mm,
Which I think might be OC's issue in sometimes is that land just gets to him and he's going to get better. He's on a top tier team. They're not going to let him go. Not for, the process of getting him was incredibly expensive. No one's going to pay for OC right now what they would. He's the best American opper, but in terms of the best world oppers in this current form, concerning. So they're going to stick with him and they're going to hope he turns out good. And now they have a whole off season to figure out what works, what doesn't. Everyone gets to go home and have a nice time at Christmas. Like it'll be okay. So I'm
yeah.
not worried.
Nah. Like I said, I don't know what the crowd's gonna be like for this. Probably not very not very good. So maybe like I don't know how much it'll tell you about teams that are going there, or like a
Yeah.
liquid that are going to get a chance to hopefully play on stage with the teams that are in attendance. Um, but yeah, I just think like fall finals was a bit of a letdown because I think Heroic were more than beatable in that series. Like they lost 2-1. Like there was moments that they looked like they could have it.
Yeah.
If you beat them, you're playing like realistically you're meeting a phase in the final, which I think a phase liquid final on stage would be a real like
Gonna
that'd
be
be a
great.
banging match.
Gonna be
And like I
great.
think the Heroic phase final was
Do we
great
think that
anyway. So.
do we know what the seedings are gonna be? Have you looked that up yet?
I'm not too sure actually. It's
I'd be
when
curious
I
to see. Yeah. So the teams seed each
okay,
other, which is what our producer Martin is saying. Um,
but like
well,
it's a
I think
toss up
that's
between a lot
actually
of those teams.
I think that's actually better for Liquid because I think that Liquid is going to get a much better seeding from the other top pro teams compared to what their seeding would be. Because I think OG is going to get the bottom seeding, and they would have to play off against I don't know, like probably Phase, maybe Phase, probably
Yeah,
Heroic. Like,
yeah.
maybe but
I'd nearly
not
put
Navi.
G2 as the bottom seed.
Navi's been, like, a shit show because they're, like, changing players. They're, like, trading things out. So, I don't know. If I'm another team, I'm actually putting Navi pretty low considering the fact that they're, like, changing out players, and SDY is, like, who the fuck knows, and they've got Nipples coming in.
What a name, man! What a
What a
name!
name.
What a
We're
gamer!
probably doing it wrong. It's probably, like, NPL or something, and it's just, like, us being fucking idiots, but, I
Ah,
love it anyways. Yeah, but
simple
that one,
nipples.
I mean, they're also well, actually, okay, so if they're gonna rank other teams, you've I I think the world ranking might be how they rank them, quite genuinely.
Nah, I don't.
Or Liquid gets ranked ahead of Navi. Because Heroic Outsiders phase Navi, Liquid, Vitality G2, OG. G2 should probably be worse than OG.
Yeah,
They
that's what
should
I
probably
said.
be the bottom. Yeah.
They
But
suck, man.
then
They're so bad.
there's so it's actually I still you know what? I think I cursed them because
Good.
remember back in the summer, I was just sitting on the beach. I think it was like Cologne. I think they were like, oh, I think like the rumors were like coming out and it was like, oh, G2 is making these changes. And I was like, why would you ever go play for G2? Like, what a terrible organization from a CS perspective. They change players all the time. And like everyone got mad at me. And then like even Carlos came in, it was like, ugh. And then, Carlos decided to die on a stake and get
Yeah,
fired because he's a moron. And then Hooksy turns out to like not be that good of an IGL and not even fragging. Like the coach leaves, their GM leaves, everyone's leaving. The whole place is turning into a fire shit storm. And now they're gonna play the world finals somehow for some reason. Yeah, that's
yeah,
gonna go great. I'm sure it's gonna go well. Absolutely.
yeah.
Fucking ridiculous.
It's like Nico's track record with IGLs as well. It's just so
I
so
don't even
funny
think
to
it's
look.
Nico's fault. Like the
I
team,
think
I
I think
look
Ale-
at it and I'm like, I
I
think JKS was too overhyped.
Oh, 100%. And like in terms of role, he doesn't really like fit when you look at the style that like Nico and
No.
Hunter play. You're just adding another passive. And I mean, Nico has his aggressive moments, but like he's more into like the later round stages. But I think like it just didn't make sense. And I also thought kicking Alexi B after that amount of time
Oh
was
yeah.
hard.
Like what are we doing?
There's no way Nico was
What are
allowing Alexi
we
B to
doing?
micromanage him. Like that's the thing. It's like that's the style of calling that Alexi has. And like Nico does not like to be told what to do. Like he kicked Carrigan. Look what Carrigan did afterwards with Mouse, and then FaZe again after Nico was gone.
It's you know what? It's apparently it seems like more and more the micromanaging IGLs actually know what the fuck they're doing. And it turns out that like,
Insane.
maybe Nico needs to swallow a pill there. Um Regardless, I don't know. I think they're not. I think Liquid is easily not the worst team there.
Oh,
I
100%.
would actually put them. It's weird because like for FaZe, I feel like I would put them above FaZe, but FaZe came ahead and made it to the finals of the fall finals. It's like
Yeah.
it's a little weird back and forth. I'd probably put them in top 3, top 4. I think Navi
Yeah.
are 5th best. I think we're
I
gonna
think.
I think we're gonna see once again FaZe Navi, and I mean not FaZe Navi, Liquid Navi, and I think we're gonna see Liquid win. Which we should also talk about. Liquid beating Navi, like still very good, still
Legit
very
win, like.
impressive on these. Like these are legit wins. And it just Liquid seem to know how the fuck Navi are gonna play. Like it's
Yeah.
coming up.
I think that's the thing. Like I said, it wasn't like Liquid was a disaster at full finals. It was they can get nearly there and then they just kind of trip when it matters.
Yeah,
Like in Rio, they tripped when it mattered in getting into playoffs. Like that was their big goal, getting back into playoffs after like so much time. Like they were like a contender, obviously, but you need to be playing on that big stage in the arena. They tripped on the final of Pro League, which was very winnable over 5 maps. They went 5 maps. If Elise shows up to that final, they win it actually. And like it's just you're seeing them get to these stages where like Liquid's gone by since like the glory days of like whatever 2019. Like they're getting to these stages where they haven't gotten since, but they're just tripping at these final hurdles that they
yeah.
need to be overcoming. And like that'll come with time. Like I've no worries about Liquid at the moment.
Well, what's crazy is that like neither do the players. The players
Yeah.
themselves are like, we're not worried at all. None of this frustrates us, which is a complete difference to how this team looked in the first half of the year with Shocks. Because when they played with Shocks, it was like, this is very clearly a problem. Even at like the major was the last straw. The major, they were done with Shocks. Shocks was also quitting on that team at the major. It was like bad. And I think like you see this whole situation now where you Kinder, it feels like he's dragging this team kicking and screaming, but even he's not even showing signs of frustration, and he's incredibly honest all the time. And he's like, "Yeah, this team's great. I'm pumped to be here. We're gonna like figure this out. Like I have no concerns." Which you're with the guy for 6 months. The whole contract situation was fucked from the beginning. It really changed once the ownership turned Armenian, which is how the deal was able to get through towards the end. Um, and it's like, okay, now what do we do? Like, are we just starting over from scratch? But you have the 6 months. Like, were you ever really fully in yet? Like, when does the time of how invested is Yakinder and how invested is the team full on into this project? And I think that's something to note. I think it's also interesting to note is that Nitro had his best game against Navi. Like, it's just he's
People who like
weird and
people who like to
annoying.
pug, people
He
who like
lo-
to pug know that that's a life game. That's a life game. You're not. That's not repeatable. Like,
Well, because
it's.
he what did I'm trying to look at the of his slash line. Oh, I'm also introducing slash lines. Do you know what slash lines are?
No, explain to me what slash
So
lines
in
are.
baseball, you slash, which is like your batting average, your on base percentage, and your slugging percentage. It's basically like ways that you can look at percentages and stats in a very like digestible way, and like everyone kind of knows what you're talking about, and it's like you're good. Here, I look at it. The slash line should easily be ADR, cast, and rating. We should talk about ADR and cast more, and we don't. And I think that's wrong. So I'm trying to change that. So I'm going to say that Nitro slashed a 79.9 ADR, a 70.4 cast, and a 1.2 rate against Navi and a BO3. And he went plus 15. That's the
I think
best. A plus 15. He 65 frags. He was 3 away from simple. Like, God game. God game for him. What a time to have a
life
God
game.
game. Like,
Nah,
it's just, but it's like dumb how he does that. And then against G2, who they comfortably beat 2-0, he's like -5 and he posts like a 0.86. And it's like,
yeah.
what are we doing here? Why can we not get you more consistent? Please, I'm begging for the love of God.
Do you know who's someone that I like really want to focus on more? And I feel like since Yakinder came in, obviously he's the center of attention. Everyone like knows how much
Oh
impact
yeah,
he brings. Elige has obviously been face of the team for years. People like
yeah,
focus on like OC's like low level for like where Opping is at the moment, and
yeah.
people like me focus on Nitro's like very low level. Naf has been so good this year. I just want like I was like looking at his stats there. He's had like one red event. Everything else is green. Like,
If you
and the
don't
one red
talk,
event was the first of the year, like the proper one.
if we don't talk about a player, it means that they're just doing their fucking
He
job.
just
He
like
just
this. He had to
goes
play with
in.
shocks as well. Like he's been legit. Like I put my boy
I
Key.
mean, he's a, what do we think? Top 10 player this year?
Nah, not top 10, but
Really?
he'll definitely be top 20. Like in terms of like
Yeah.
there's a lot of like the players that you have to go through even for top 5 are already like locked in. Like Simple Zaiwu, Axel
Shiro.
Shiro. Uh, I think in terms of stats, like Yekender isn't always up there, but he'll be top 10.
I think Ykinder.
Elite. I don't know if
I think
Elite will make
Naf and
top
Ykinder
20.
are both on it. I think Naf and Ykinder are easily on it. I
He
don't.
could do.
Unfortunately, those are probably going to be the only Americans on it this year, which sucks.
I thought you said OC was gonna be there, bro.
That's just not.
I'm never letting it go ever,
You know
ever.
what? Hey, I didn't expect him to fucking capitulate in like the last 3 events. All right.
He was never up and over that.
He
I
was
just
he
remember when
was
you
he
said it,
was
I
sneaking
immediately went
in.
to.
He was sneaking in.
But
You know
yeah,
what? That's fine. I will let that listen. Someone's got to be the copium on here. Um, but I think it was good overall. I think obviously they're losing the match against Heroic. What was that? In a best of 3. This is what confused me. Okay, so can they bring up the bans again? Shit, I was looking. I remember looking at it when I saw the bans. They banned Ancient again. They banned Ancient. Liquid did.
hmm
Um, which they had the choice between Vertigo and Ancient, and I was very confused about that play because Ancient and Heroic and Liquid had the same kind of win rate on Ancient, right? It's something up where they're in like the 80% like win rate. But Liquid's win rate on Vertigo is dog shit. It's like 32 or 38%. It's so low. And I'm looking at that and I'm going, listen, they lost Ancient at the major to Heroic. And in a BO3, like you could win that. You could have just stuck like I would have imagined you knew how they played Ancient. You could have been able to figure that out. Like that's not something that necessarily just instantly goes away. Like you could and I feel like even though you have to play to your best maps, and I just don't think that was the right one, especially when you know that you had to make semis to guarantee your spot in the global finals. You had to make it. And gambling on a 30% something win rate map like Vertigo, which if you don't know Vertigo, you are not winning. You just are not against Heroic, who were very good on Vertigo. They also have like an 80% win rate on it. So it's like, why are we not playing the percentages? And that was
yeah,
the most frustrating part of that thing because once you lost that first map, once you lost Overpass, you were never going to win that. Not the maps just didn't line up.
yeah. I mean, like, I don't know what they're doing with Vertigo. It was one of those maps. Like when Yekender first came in, I thought that there would be a lot more clash with him and Elige. When he first came in, Elige said in an interview with us, he was like, "Vertigo's the only map that I actually got to keep my rolls on." And I think we can kind of, I think we can kind of see that. Like, it still hasn't fully clicked for them yet. And yeah, I think you make a good point. Like when considering Liquid's pass on Ancient, like they're a pretty decent Ancient team. Like I don't
Right.
know why you wouldn't,
You beat
unless
Navi on Ancient.
uh,
You're able to do a lot of stuff on Ancient. Like I don't know if it was like, oh, we want to maybe we can surprise them. Surprise them with what? They have an 80% win rate. They're not going to get surprised. They know what to play. Like
yeah, maybe they thought like since they did play Navi and Ancient that there was like with the time that Heroic had to like look over and see who they're going to be playing. Like maybe that there's something in that. But
I don't know.
yeah,
What I do know is that, and I don't know how much I can share this, but at the
always
major
fun.
Liquid, they have a new analyst. This guy, holy shit! Like they probably have the greatest analyst that I've ever seen in my entire life. This
Is it
guy,
you?
no, no. Shut up. It's like an actual guy. He like went to MIT. He's like built programs. He's built their own software programs to basically figure out every different lineup smoke, sight angle, like where to exactly position yourself on the map, how to deconstruct an entire opponent's like setups. Like the guy has created something that
What a
is out of
nerd.
this world. No, he is like the nerdiest nerd I've ever seen in my life. And like and literally when I'm talking to like the Liquid staff, I'm like, okay, so like what's your secret weapon? They're like, I was like, yeah, you Kinder's gonna be great. They're like, we don't know. We have this guy. And he's
This
just a
guy.
dude that carries around this laptop. And he just says the nerdiest shit ever. And like they were like, Ryan, you can't say anything about this right now. I was like, okay. And I saw some of the stuff that the guy has. I can't recreate it or tell you, but like I saw it and I was like, holy shit. Like you should win every game. Like you have all of this knowledge. So, you know,
Well, there
we'll
you
see
go.
how that goes.
If they have him going into off season, there you go.
Oh yeah,
Katowice is
well
Liquid are
because
winning
they hired
Katowice.
it. They very much hired him like mid season. I think it. I don't even think it was like a few weeks before the major. I think it was literally like they hired him and they're like, get on the plane.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So we'll get to the Blast World Finals at the end. Anubis for Dust 2. We saw
So
it
happy.
being played a few times. Cool stuff. I don't know the map, therefore I hate it. I
No.
didn't always mind Dust 2. I thought
I
Dust 2 was a very
fucking
scrimmy
despise that
aimer
map,
map.
man. It's
Um,
so bad. It's so fucking bad. I've never hated
you
anything
hate
more
it
in my
because
life.
you probably fucking lose all the time
I
on
have like a 30% win rate.
it's your
It's like
first.
the
It's like
it's no, I genuinely I hate watching it. I hate playing. I
I
hate
don't
everything about it.
I don't know if I
Everyone
hate
was
watching
like
it.
everyone was like remove Mirage. I'm like Mirage isn't bad. It's just
Mirage,
boring. Mirage. It's
Mirage.
it's just boring because it's been played out. But like you still find people innovating on that map. Dust
Yeah,
2, there's nothing to innovate other than long flashes or you got spawned to go lower
guys, it's
tunnels or rush
all
B.
just go long A, throw a bunch of flashes. We're gonna get on this site.
I played a game of Dust 2 and I got legged. It was on the day that they removed the map and I got legged through our namesake double doors. So in the first I looked at the clock in the first 4 seconds of the round I had 10 HP. I was like that's a broken map if that's allowed.
You
Like I
know,
couldn't do anything about it.
just
I
do
threw the
better.
sm- I threw
Just
the
do
smoke. He
better.
hit me through the smoke. Like it's a
Okay,
broken map if
bait it
that's
out.
allowed. I don't yeah, no, I don't care how like iconic it is iconic. There's a reason that the website is called it. There's a reason that every meme about counter like the me
Every
like
meme about
Dust 2
Counter Strike is Dust 2.
no
Every
joke like
single thing.
Dust 2 actually like transcends Counter-Strike. I see it in like
Yes.
memes and other like popular cultures. Like it is
Yeah.
iconic. It just fucking sucks. It's so bad. And like Anubis definitely has his problems. Like I played a game of it.
Anubis
Shout
is
out to
confusing.
nah shout out to AZS who I made leave the game from the game that we played together.
You're the worst.
um but no, like it's creative. I like the way that people were calling it a Valorant map, considering it came out like it was released a month before Valorant even came out. So shut up. But it has its problems with clipping. I think there's gonna be ways that you can get creative with like rotations and stuff. Because like I like the different tunnels and like pathways and stuff. But like it just needs time. Everyone hates the maps when they first come out. Like everyone hated Ancient. Everyone hate people still kind of hate Vertigo, but unfounded because it's a great map.
Yeah.
And it's just like you just need time. Like no one's gonna love a map straight away when it comes into Counter Strike. We
No.
love having our like set things. Like even like the old maps that were in it for ages. People are calling for Cobble to come back. Cobble was awful before it like got taken out of the pool. Stop
Yeah.
asking for it to come back unless they actually fix it.
So we have the stats courtesy of Daniel, who is our resident graph man. He has a few stats about the online and LAN rating for Dust 2, the best players and the worst players.
Concerning.
So on non Dust 2 maps, and I don't know what the necessary specifics here are. Nitro, who has a 0.87 rating, has a 0.98 rating on Dust 2. He has a 12.6% difference in his rating. OC 1.04 on non-Dust 2, and then it's a 1.16 on Dust 2. Like they're the top two like best like changing their average play to that. It's ridiculous. It's just the worst. Fame, Spinks, Blame F, and Elige are the top 4 of like the Dust 2 haters. Like they have normal performances that are pretty high, and then the second that they play Dust 2, they capitulate. So weird, I guess. Who doesn't love that?
Yeah, I mean, Blame F just probably struggles to bait on Dust too.
So when do we think that Anubis is actually going to get some real playtime though? How about that? Do you think that there's going to be any genuine playtime here? I don't see it happening.
You'll get like a map in at World Finals. It's not going to be like every team's going to be trying to
At
like
World
float.
Finals? Even that late?
You always get a team. Like look what ATK are doing. The sweaty nerds. Do you see the executes that they have on
Dude,
it?
fuck yeah. They tried it out in Mustache Masters. It was fantastic.
I was gonna no. Did they not do it in the Cash Cup as well? They were playing it against MIBR in the Cash Cup, and like
Yep.
Nade's out here had like a video up on his Twitter within like a few minutes of it, and it's like this sweaty three Molotov, three smoke,
Fucking
flashbangs popping in
amazing.
the. I was
They're
gonna text
such
Spray. I was
little
like, "You
bitchy nerds.
sweaty
That's
nerd, go
incredible.
touch
I
some
love them.
grass."
I love them so much.
Oh no, I love it. I respect it, but like that's the point that I'm making with World Finals is the level of teams, the level of staff that they have behind them. Someone's gonna float it, and someone's gonna think, "Oh yeah, I'm picking this." Like we have stuff prepared. We're gonna catch them by surprise. Like if Astralis can pick Vertigo after it just came out at a major against Liquid, like we're gonna get something at World Finals that no one's gonna be, no one's gonna be in the arena anyway. So who cares?
It is.
Is it?
I think
You'd
it has
imagine it
been
would be
confirmed. I
considering
think it
the
has been
time.
confirmed that they will be using the new update at World Finals. Too much time has gone on for them not to use it. So if you're going to use the
Yeah,
new update, you have to use the map pool.
Fall Finals was too close of a turnover for
It
it.
was. It was
So,
crazy. Um,
but
but yeah,
yeah,
that'll be a whole load of fun. I'm very excited to see how awful this is going to be.
they have a lot to fix with it though. Like there's some bad
Oh
clipping
yeah.
issues.
Oh, I can imagine that the map needs to get broken. Well, like Vertigo underwent like 7 or 8 changes before it's in its version now that hasn't been updated. Like you could go from mid to
That
ramp over a
nightmare
day.
little box
The,
connector
the,
was
the
like
oh my
nightmare.
god, it was incredible. It was the most broken thing ever. And
Uh,
what else was there? Like there was a lot of aspects of parts of that map that you could change. And I think we're gonna see that with Anubis. I think we're gonna see like this is not the final map, nor is like there's gonna be like at least 8 revisions that happen based off of feedback from players to CSGO or the way that CSGO sees the map being played out. I mean, there's no point really of trying to learn the map just yet. Because I think you're still gonna need like the playtesting is gonna have to just keep going on and on and on. So that'll be that one. All right.
we talk
Now we're
about the
gonna
M4 changes as well.
yeah, let's talk about the M4 changes. I have no opinion on it because I am not a sweaty little nerd that knows what to do, and I've always liked the A1S because I like bullets that don't have a big spray pattern and I can control more. So
So
I've always liked the
yeah.
A1S. I'm the worst.
I think we're
I'm still
definitely
gonna
gonna.
use the A1S.
I think the problem now, the only problem that I see with the A4 from like playing, like I played quite a few games since they did the nerf.
Yeah.
The A1S obviously has been nerfed because like you get a lot of times where you hit them 4 times and you don't get the kill. You hit them for like 90 or something, which wasn't the case before. Like you were getting 4 kills,
Yeah.
like four bullets to a kill from long range. It was fine, overpowered. The only change that I think they do need to make is they need to make the A4 the same price again, because even if you go with the A4, like there's still aspects that the A1S has over it, including like even when you discount the price. I think that's the only thing that I'd do to make a balance, and then like you have it perfect because like the CT economy is still fucked. Like
Yeah, dude.
if like you can win like a massive stretch of rounds, like losing 2 or 3 players, and then the one round you lose, you're on Inigo, and you've done nothing wrong. You've won like all the rounds.
Right.
So
I
that's
think
the only
I think
thing.
the hard part there is that there is so many its maps are so CT sided that you have to have a struggling economy to counterbalance it. T's have to be able to find ways to get back in there. And I
The only,
think that's the
yeah,
counterbalance.
I think the only map that's incredibly CT sided now is Ancient. I think everything else is it's a fair balance. Like you see 9-6, 8-7 halves a lot more often than you used to.
Yes.
Even Nuke isn't that bad anymore. Like, do you remember the days when Nuke would be like 12-3 halves
It was really
every
bad,
single
yeah.
game?
Because no one knew what the
Like,
fuck they were doing.
except for Astralis.
Nerds.
Um, but yeah, no, I think that's literally the only change that I would make is either reduce the price or make the A1S the same price. Like, buff it up. Other than that, I like the change because I think the A1S was broken as fuck, and you just saw it in fall finals after like people started playing with the A4 again. They're like, oh yeah, like you have to make like reasonable changes with it. And then I was just watching people get like 3K spray downs through the smoke with an A1S because like you can't see the tracers. It was like one headshot and a headshot and a body shot. They were dead. It was great. So I like the change. I think it was welcome. I have no complaints about it.
Oh, all
So this has been
right.
my favorite patch in ages because I fucking
Really?
hate Dust 2, and I like the balance between the two weapons again because I like having
I
a
don't like
choice
that.
with like the A1S for so many years. Like no one used it because like there was stages when I had like
I did. I fucking love
it-
that shit. I never
like
used the M4. Never used the M4.
yeah, but
Every
also
A1 as listen, it's
I've
only
watched you
been good
play.
for me. I don't play enough, dude. I literally I have to write about it all day. I have to watch it all day. You know what I don't want to do after like 10 hours of talking and doing
Play.
Counter-Strike
That's what we're
stuff?
doing after
Play
this.
Counter-Strike. I no. I'm gonna make dinner. I'm gonna touch grass, and I'm gonna like be a reasonable human being. God,
You live in New York. There's no grass.
there's no grass. No, I have a park. I have a park near
There
me.
you go.
It's nice. You know, take
All
the
right.
breaks.
So
Um, all right, let's talk about the worst thing that we don't want to talk about. Fuck. Oh God. Okay, so Semmler. Yeah, I like how Martin just switched that.
yeah, that was
I said
a
it.
good
That
time.
was yeah, he knows. Okay, so God, so for anyone that hasn't seen or read the article, basically Semmler made comments on it was on the YouTube video that he did. I think it was like Revenge
Yeah, the
by the
comment.
Numbers, now the post Richard Lewis, Revenge by the Numbers. And I think they were talking about ESL Impact, and I think he was making statements about it. Some YouTube comment kind of calls him out and was like, or not calls him out, but was like, hey, like, why do you harp on like cis women and trans women? Something about that. And then Summer just goes ahead and is like, well, they're not women, they're men. And it's like men shouldn't be involved in a female league. And that was just the YouTube comment. And no one knew or like saw any of that until some random Twitter user like took a screenshot and then posted it. And then Semmler, like, again, none of this probably would have ever been found, but Semmler then quote tweets it and like doubles down on his take and is like, yeah, I care about the sanctity of the
The
women's
integrity of the
league,
league.
the
Yeah.
integrity of ESL Impact, not allowing men to be in a female league, which a lot of statements there that are bad that I disagree with personally. Then we make an article basically rephrasing, like saying what he said. And then everyone got mad. I mean, everyone was already mad about the tweet and then, you know, all that fun stuff. So that's kind of been the situation. Uh, do you want to go first before I go on and say my stuff, or do you want me to just talk about this?
Take it
Take it,
away.
take it. Great. Listen, it is from the article from what we did. We just said the facts, and we tried to stay. I tried to stay out of it of like what I was going to say. I wanted to give it like a beat, and then I did, and now I can too. And I think what he said was like it was transphobic. And listen, it's not like transphobic in the sense of like Semmler said trans women should die or like trans women are like horrible humans, right? Like in the world of like transphobic things, him saying I don't believe that, like just denying the existence of trans women is probably like kind of on like the least, like the scale of like bad ways to handle like trans individuals. It's like kind of at the bottom of just being like, I just don't think that trans women, they're men. They're biologically male. That's like kind of a unfortunately common held belief by a lot of people. Okay. It's not great. And calling them men is not great. They're trans women. But the way that I think people like took it, like kind of went a little overboard, but you know, do whatever. Regardless, ESL strictly allows trans women to do it. The arguments that men who can't hack it are going to suddenly change their gender and join ESL Impact in search of free money is so off base. It's crazy. And the problem is he went ahead and Semmler never said any of those publicly until like I think he went on a stream or something today or yesterday. I saw a YouTube video of him saying, oh, well, we're already seeing it now. We have not seen it now. We have never seen it happen, actually. 5 years ago in 2017, a group of alt-right wing grifters were on YouTube trying to join a women's league, claiming that they were transgender. They fooled a number of news outlets. ESL kept saying, "You're not allowed." And then it turns out they were grifters and were not allowed. And like ESL's been good about this. They require documentation. They've required doctor's notes in the past. They require like confirmation that you've changed your name. You've changed your gender identity. They require proof. It's not like you can just go show up, say, "Well, I believe I'm a woman now." That's not how it works. And people that don't people that think that you can just change, like Simple's gonna go ahead, join the women's league, say that he's like another woman, like a woman. It's like that's not how any of this
Yeah.
works. And it's just beyond me that people think that's what's happening. Like, show
It's
me the
yeah.
proof and evidence that this has happened on enough of a scale that we should be concerned about the integrity of the female league, and then I will be with you. I'll go ahead and say it. But it's not. Like, these women are going on hormone therapy. They have doctor's visits regularly to handle these issues. This is not like a very flippant thing. So I'm very upset about the way that I think that this has been handled. The
Yeah.
discourse is the worst discourse ever.
Yeah. Like I'm not like these kind of issues aren't something that I'm like too kept up with. Like I know it's like something that you like like not advocate for, but like you're very well read up on. Like, and it's not like I didn't know that stuff about like needing like doctor's notes or like like gender identity for me. It's like do what you want kind of way.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, that kind of argument of like people just gonna like take advantage of it. It's like the same one that you hear about like the WNBA. They're like, oh, LeBron's gonna just go over there one day and drop 200 in a game. It's like
It's like
it's not gonna happen. And I also don't think I think it was Daniel from Dust 2 made like a good point when we were having our talk about it.
yeah.
It's not like there's a genetic like there's no genetic
There's
advantage to
there's
being a guy.
arguments there's arguments about reaction time, but
Yeah,
if reaction but he, so right, so the reaction is about reaction. The argument is about reaction time. Great. So then why isn't NA like top of the world in
why does
players?
Drake and suck?
Right. Right. You can have the best reaction time. It doesn't mean that you're a better player. Like
Yeah,
you, Michael, like it, it's just very, it's a lot of bad arguments, I feel. Because the argument is that the Impact League is created as a way for women to have a league that is to better introduce competition and allow women to have a path to pro without facing undue harassment in an esport that's dominated by men who have a culture and history of harassing women in the game. There is countless Reddit posts and Twitter posts of people going, I'm a girl in CS:GO. Look at this. Like there was one like a few months ago that was literally like, I'm a girl in CS:GO. Watch this video of me just getting bullied and immediately kicked out of a game for nothing other
yeah,
than just being a woman. Like you can't look at me with a straight face and tell me that the harassment doesn't exist where it would happen. Like women get pushed out of the games, therefore there's not enough women to play in these games, so they don't play them. And when you have a smaller population of people playing a game, turns out they're not going to be as good as the one where it has the big population.
yeah,
It's dumb.
yeah. I think with the Semmler thing as well, I like vaguely recall it, so I don't like actually quote from the time, but
Yeah.
like when Impact was announced, like it wasn't exactly on board with the concept of women getting their own league in that sense.
He
Yeah.
No, I don't think he
Not yeah,
had
that's what I
some
mean.
argument or something about how it was presented, about how like,
Okay.
well, men are
Yeah.
toxic. And yeah, most of the men in esports are toxic. Like every lobby. Yeah.
Esports is a cesspit. Like it's just
Esports
gaming is a
sucks.
cesspit.
Esports sucks, dude. This shit sucks. Um,
Yeah.
so I was like, yeah, like it is toxic. It's a place where they can go and not have toxic. And so he made a bunch of like joke tweets about it. Um, which like, yeah, it kind of shows that I don't like, what's he really caring about the integrity of the league? Who knows? But like it didn't really scream yes from the start of it. So yeah, I
Yeah.
just I in terms of transphobic things that Semmler could have done, this was probably like the weakest. If the argument is I don't believe that trans women are women. That's like such like it's so bottom of the barrel. Like who cares? Um, like it's bad, obviously, and that's why we wrote about it because it caused a lot of controversy, and we owed it to cover it. Where there are multiple trans women on North American teams participating in ESL Impact. Um, so it directly, that's why we wrote it, was because it directly impacted those individuals, because he is still a very popular content creator and former caster. Former caster, he hasn't casted in 2022, which I don't know why. I don't think he retired.
No,
I don't think he
has he
ever.
done an event?
No, he hasn't done an
No,
event.
he
I
he
looked it up
did.
when I was doing the
Yeah,
article because I was
the
like, why
last
hasn't
one
he
would have
done an event?
been Stockholm, right?
PGL Stockholm, yeah, that was his
Yeah,
last event. Regardless, he's still an incredibly popular caster, and public figure within the CS:GO community. So his statements
yeah.
have hold weight no matter what. Um, but yeah, so the personal feeling from me is that his comments bad, and it's transphobic, and I don't think that like there's nothing really here to accomplish other than being like trans women are women, and that's all I gotta say. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
we're I would rather let the women that are involved in the league genuinely like talk to ESL and say, like, if they have a majority of them have a problem, be like, hey, we're actually concerned that too many transgender women coming into the league is actually somehow altering it, or if they're coming in and they're being so much more dominant than us women. Like, we need to figure out like what's the thing. Honestly, not my place to go ahead and tell them what to do. It's not my league. I cover it, and they're the ones with the vested interest, and I'd rather let the decisions over a women's league be left up to the women that are an integral part of it.
Um, I don't know. I think like that would be more for like an organizer to do because I think if you let players kind of decide who comes into a league, that's a
That's
bit
fair.
concerned.
Yeah.
That's a concerning
Yeah.
stretch of.
Yeah.
But yeah, that has to come from an organizational standpoint. Because I don't like the idea of letting players run tournaments. But
We
that's
believe you should give us all the money. You should spend less on the production. Just give us more prize money.
yeah. Honestly, if NA had 2 seconds to run a tournament.
All right,
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on it. So
yeah, let's move on. Mustache Masters, good charity event that I am a part of, but also one that's been running for 4 years in NA. Raised another 20 grand. ATK were able to win this year. Um,
sweaty nerds.
Sweaty nerds, they won over EG and friends with Skadoodle. Skadoodle came back for a hot second, played some games. So pretty nice of him to do that, and a lot of fun to kind of like see him back in the saddle. Rush played as well, which was cool. So two major winners played in a Mustache Masters. Good event. So donations are still open for that. It's mobro.co/stash.
Yeah, last day of November.
Well, actually, the whole thing runs all year. The charity
I
runs all
know,
year.
but
I
last
still
day of
gotta. I'm supposed to go ahead and ship off one of Vu's perfect world jackets.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah, so I've got to go do that. But we're probably going to do that in the next like week or so.
but yeah.
All right.
I wish I got a chance this year to watch a bit more because I know
Yeah.
last year I ended up watching quite a lot of it and donating obviously, and this year it just like
Yeah.
timing
Did you
was
donate
everything.
this year?
It's 1 day left in November. I only got paid yesterday. You should know. But yeah, I will be donating. It's I always love the idea of these kind of like fun little tournaments where like people
Yeah.
get together with mixes, get together with friends. Like obviously it made it even more fun this year with like Anubis, like people could go test it out.
Yes.
Like
Oh my God, we saw so many Anubis games, and
that's what I mean.
ATK
Like
played Anubis in the final.
because that's the perfect time to do it is where
Yeah.
you have this chance to have a bit of fun. There's a bit of a platform behind it. Like you can get these kind of fun clips going, trending, whatever. And yeah, I love the idea of Mustache Masters. It's amazing.
That's great. Now, so uh, excited to do a fifth year, seeing as how 4 years was successful. Third year in a row with more than 20K. So you can still donate while you can.
Maybe I'll
All
have to
right.
venture over next year.
You might. All right. Speaking of ATK, news about ATK. MOTM is out of ATK, but he's still playing for ATK,
They broke
which
up, but both their names are on the lease. He has to
it
stay.
literally is. So here's the whisper theory that is currently going out there in the world about this. The idea is that ATK are going to be sticking together through December 18th because on December or I think it's 19th. I think it's the 19th. So on December 19th is supposedly when the invites for IEM Katowice go out.
The plan, yeah.
So the idea is currently that there are still EPT points left available, and Complexity is playing these cash cups. If Complexity earns enough EPT points through cash cups before the 19th, theoretically, they could go ahead, get a world ranking spot, get out of the ESL World Ranking North America spot for IEM Katowice, get into the world ranking spot. Therefore, I think it's Pain Gaming is currently like the one ahead of ATK,
Yeah.
but they haven't been in the US since like May because they went down to Brazil to prepare for the major. So if they get redesignated as a South American team, ATK would be the ones to line up and make it to IEM Katowice. And that is why I think they're going to keep playing together, is to secure as many points as they possibly can for IEM Katowice. So yeah, so look at this. So literally when you scroll down, it's Pain Gaming is ahead, but Pain Gaming hasn't been in the US. And literally Complexity at 19, I think they have to get up to the 15th. They have to get up to 15 for them to be able to do it, but it's only less than like 100 points compared to the world. So if we go to the world ranking, so right now it is OG at 329. They're the last ones with the ESL World Ranking spot for IEM Katowice, and Complexity is looking to get to beat OG out. Now, here's the problem about OG. OG is playing in the Blast World Finals, so they are probably going to get EPG points from that. So they have to hope that somehow rank decay works in their favor somehow for this whole thing to work out. But that is apparently the crazy theory that is circling around. How do you
It's
feel about
just
that?
it's just the Forrest Griffin, not Forrest Griffin, Forrest Gump meme. So you're telling me there's a chance?
There's literally like a 2% chance that all this
Yeah.
works out, right? Because ESL have to have their brains on right and recategorize Pain Gaming, and Complexity have to like conceivably win enough cash cups with big teams in them to get the points to beat out OG. And OG have to fail spectacularly at Blast World Finals to get the lowest amount of EBT
Which
points.
they will.
And they have to have like a horrible rank decay somehow. So all of it is insane right now. And that's that theory.
Yeah, I'd love to see ATK at
Well,
Katowice.
you're gonna be there at Katowice.
Yeah.
We got your approval this morning. So how do we feel about potentially having 5 NA teams for only potentially 2 days? That I'm going to tell you that you have to interview all of them.
Spamming interviews. No, I think even like from the side of like I'm going, it would be cool to see those guys because they're very chill guys to hang out with.
Yeah.
But from the side of like them getting experience as well, it would just be such a huge thing for them getting to go over to Europe with such a short turnover from the RMR, where obviously I believe it was their first like trip abroad, like to Europe
Yeah.
properly together as a team. Like I know some of the players are probably like obviously Bowden's played in Europe. Like I think Swisher was he on Bad News Bears when they went to Europe.
But
Think
he was no, no,
could have been.
no,
But
Spongy.
Spongy, yes, sure. But yeah, like it would be great for them to have like another chance to go back over to Europe again because like
Yeah.
you obviously do so much when you're over there, like in terms of scrimming. Like even if they were there for like just the play-in and they get eliminated after like one day, they're
Yeah.
still gonna like say, okay, we're here now. Let's have 2 weeks, we'll bash this out, and then like head back to NA. Like it's just such a good way to start the year, and I really hope that that does work out that way because I think Pain, like the fact that they're getting an NA would suck. But also, Pain are one of those teams that just disappoint every time they come over to Europe. Like they
No
do
way.
really well in NA and like the
God, they love
Americas.
NA. They love
Yeah,
NA
like
so much. They just keep
I,
fucking winning.
I think it was Hockey that said it to me. He was like, Pain will stomp any. The way he said it is like they'll stomp any no-name NA team. Obviously, we know the names, but like the Brazilians don't care about like advanced and ECL teams and NA. But like he does have a point. Like anytime Pain play a team like an ATK or like announce they do beat them out, but then they go over to Europe and they lose to like everyone. So it'd be great for them to like actually like get their shit together for it if they do get the spot. But look, I just want more experience for the NA boys, and
We
unfortunately,
love that. We love that. And it's always good content for us.
oh,
The
100%.
other EG, the other changes we should talk about, EG. Today they officially released DJ, who was replaced by Momo for their CCT. So EG White replaced Momo, and then on EG Black, Shop got the chop. ah! And he has been replaced allegedly with George Snorts, but George Snorts is like not playing with them
So
on
good.
ACL.
So good.
So it's currently Viz is going from
Wiz
EG
and Biz.
White to play with Wiz on EG Black as a temporary sub on their roster. So that's that roster. It's very fun. We
Yeah.
love it to be confusing. We love it to be this great. So
That's what I
that's
wanted with the blueprint. Like, you think it makes sense? It's like make every team a mix. I love it.
it definitely is a temporary solution. It's very confusing to know what's going on with George Norris because nouns don't have contracts for anyone that's not aware. Nouns they don't have contracts. They operate on promise. It's a decent nouns is like a decentralized autonomous organization. Oh my god, that's what DAO stands for. Fuck, I just got that. God damn it. I'm such a fucking moron. They're a dumb crypto thing, and they don't believe in contracts. They just believe on promise. Like you promise me I'll pay you, and you'll do this thing for me. But that means that there's no buyouts. So George Snorts can just leave, which is hilarious, and unclear what's going to happen with like nouns. I guess Clasia. I don't know where's Clasia right now. Where's he at? Is he with nouns?
He's on some other ECL team.
He was on the EG team and he got cut.
Yeah, he was the
Nouns,
first one to go.
he was the first one to go. Now there's Chop is
On
gone.
Vendetta now.
He's on Clasia's on Vendetta
With Chop.
with Chop. Oh yeah, that's right. They picked up those two guys. I mean, it would have been interesting to see if they just do a 1-for-1 trade to nouns for that. I don't know. I wouldn't have hated that.
Yeah. For me the DJ move was kind of the weird one that kind of caught me out of like left field. It's like I can't remember who it was that made the point. It was like DJ just seems like that glue player, like that one that's like
Blue guy,
he's
big blue guy.
yeah, he's not meant to be your like star fragger, and like he just seems like a like calm level head that just holds his own, like which is what you need in a team. Like
But now here's the thing: EG have built a team, or they built the 15 players. Is now the game plan that they're going to start filling it with younger people. DJ was 29.
true.
He's older than me, and I'm old as hell.
He was
It kind of
27, wasn't
it was kind he's kind of
This one.
time. So is this the time when EG's now saying, okay, we're gonna start maybe moving some pieces around. We're gonna go from an experienced squad, we're gonna put some players in, we're gonna change up play styles. Like that EG White team has been together in that core for so long that it is different. And now do we think that EG's trying to make some changes here? Right? Momo's coming
Don't
in.
take Pone alone from me.
30-year-old talent Pone alone. No, but I mean, Momo's now coming into here. He seems like he's doing well. This could be an interesting time to see if Momo's gonna get the contract. And I don't think that Momo has a contract. I think this is like, oh, he's subbing in or he's filling in, and this
There's
is a
been no
shot for
official
him to
side
maybe
from
get
it.
it right. So maybe this is just a time where they're exploring different options for players, and that this is like we can make it. So who knows?
Yeah, I really like the move of George going over to EG though. Like, I think that will help him out so much, like as improving as a player.
It will. And what hurts is that they then have to be like when you're getting George, who's like really the next guy to make the step up, you've got to be looking at him long term for that EG main roster, right? They've already like how Hext has kind of performed. Hext has done well. Are they now looking at this roster where they see Cirque, Breeze, Nealon, Hext, and I'm totally blanking on the fifth, which is really bad. I blame the long day. You're making me
Wait,
do a podcast.
say the four again.
Hext, Cirque, Breeze, Nealon,
Automatic.
automatic. Oh fuck. You're an idiot.
Jesus. Your
Dude,
whole bit is being a fucking Cloud9
dude,
2018
just chill
fan.
for a sec. Listen, it's been a long day.
Let's take a
all right?
breath. Let's take a deep breath.
Anyways, do they think that this is an insurance policy for Breeze? Yeah, for Breeze. That's the player that I think that he would replace. That's the only one that would make sense to me, unless they don't think that Hex can cut it, and then they're going to put up George, right? Like, I'm trying to go through on my mind here. Like,
What's
what do
George's
they think is
opping
the
like?
answer? What?
What's George's opping like?
You know, it's. Listen, all of it is to say, like, what is EG's plan here? Because I think if they're going to bring on George, you cannot think that this is him just to improve your ECL team. It has to be for the main team. He has to. If not, you are stagnating this kid's career. You are, fundamentally. I think if complexity make changes, they should go after George. This guy is the next one. And there's not enough consideration over his future career. Now, for him, he might just want to be able to get paid. That's fine. That's fine if that's what he wants. But I'm thinking, like, bigger picture, I think he can make it. And I think if he signs a buyout with EG, then EG's going to hold every other org to that buyout, and no one's going to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's a fair point. But I really like the idea of Wiz and George playing on the same team for even a while. Like you got Stan as well as the IGL and Rush, who has a lot of experience. Like for now, like it makes sense.
Put Wiz for Cirque. Put Wiz for Cirque. I'm ready.
If
for
if
it.
you're if
it's
that is the
it's
plan,
gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
If that is the plan, then yeah, that's what you can see. It's gonna be Wiz and George going up for Breeze and Cirque if they just don't.
Let Cirque go back to Europe, go back home, and like be able to ball out with some like tier 2 EU org that needs an upper, and he's just going to go ahead and be like, oh, this is great. I'm going to go make a ton of money and live back in Europe, and I'm going to go to so many land events. Like, let Cirque go. I think the time, genuinely, very genuinely, I think it's time to let Cirque go back to Europe. And like, maybe, like, I think this is the time. I'm not saying like we should kick Cirque. I'm just saying that like, it's probably time for both parties to move on. He might want to go back home. It might just be a better venue for him, and he might perform better. Honestly, back in Europe, he might get more opportunities. And then if they're going to replace Cirque, it's time for Wiz. And if they also don't think that Breeze is going to fit, then George makes sense. But other than that, I don't know.
That is down the line in general. I think
It's got to be. It's got to be the 2023 move.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
feel good about that then.
Okay.
All right.
Talk about World Finals, even though we already talked about World Finals.
Yeah. Give your predictions. How about that?
Predictions. Oh, it's
the first teams eliminated are absolutely going to be G2 and OG.
Blast Redemption Tournament 2 Electric Boogaloo. It's just a bunch of teams. Actually, no. I mean, Heroic and Outsiders have done something legit recently.
What you know what I do enjoy though on the HLTV ranking is that they say that Heroic they got in because of the Blast ranking. Technically, no, they got in because of winning fall finals. That gives them the berth. So HLTV is wrong.
HLTV is wrong. You heard it here from Plus2 US.
I actually am gonna go give it. I should go give a thing and be like, hey guys, you should change this.
I'm
such a dick.
I genuinely wouldn't be surprised, and I don't know if I'm just way too high on Heroic now. I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to back. I'm very high on Heroic, and the people who know me know that I've been high on Heroic for a while.
You have.
I've been saying this for ages. I'm very high on them. I don't know how Outsiders major hangover is gonna be after like when you win that major, unless you're an Astralis that are just like fucking robots, man. Like it's hard to like keep that motivation up after you win the big one.
Well, FaZe, I mean that was probably the problem with FaZe, right? Your boys just couldn't do it at the major. They were all hyped. They win all the big events, and then they can't do it at the major. And then they come back and they're like, "Oh, hey, by the way, we made it to the fall finals. We were literally about to win fall finals." Like
after they won their first major, they won Cologne afterwards. So
yeah, you win Katowice, the first major, Cologne, like the three biggest events
Yeah,
It's
and then the
pretty
second major.
damn good.
But to be fair, everyone bombed the major. Like, there's no big team going into that can say that they like legit performed to the level that they should have. Liquid didn't make playoffs.
That's true.
Navi bombed quarters. Vitality shit the bed completely and didn't make playoffs either after being
Fair.
the favorite. Like
Okay.
this major, we already have the article about upsets on the website, so
Shut
go
up.
read that.
Yeah,
But
true.
yeah,
Facts.
everyone fucking shit the bed at
Yeah.
this major.
Eh. I'll give it to you. All right. So what's your Liquid prediction? What do you think? Where do you think they're going to be ranked by the other teams? And where do you think they place? Top 4 or bottom 4?
I think they'll be ranked. See, I don't know how much credence people are going to give to this outsiders team.
They're going to give
Like,
so much. They're going to give so much
do you
shit to
think
them.
those? But do
I
you think those
hate this
guys like?
outsiders team. I hate the way they play. I
Do you
think
think?
that they're the worst.
Do you think like Simple and Twists and Elite are all going to be like ranking outsiders like in top 3? Which they
I
probably.
I think they rank Liquid third. I think they rank
I think
Liquid
Liquid third, fourth. Like that's
No.
where.
I'm saying I'm gonna stamp it down. I think that they rank Liquid third. I think it
Let's
goes.
just give G2 the first
I think
seed
it goes
for
Heroic,
banter.
Phase, Liquid, Navi, Outsiders, Vitality, G2, OG.
OG G2 swap. Let's just put G2 last. I just hate them, man. I hate them
All
so
right,
much.
and I say they finish top 4. I think they win I think they finish the top 4. They get to semis. But
I think they should be disappointed if they don't make the final. That's my hot
Liquid,
take. Yeah, I think like
yeah,
the
but like
talent that's in it, the level that teams like Navi and FaZe aren't the same Navi FaZe we saw at the start of this year. Heroic Outsiders played 2 great brands of Counter Strike with players that aren't like superstars. Like you can make a case that Stown is a superstar. I'm not making a case that James is a superstar because I hate him. Ruined my major. But like there's no like Nico, there's no Zywoo, there's no Simple like that really like stands above the rest.
yeah.
Like
Well,
if you could,
Yakinder, my baby boy.
Kinder and Elige are like it's kind of hard. Like I know Elige has had to change roles and stuff, but like there's 3-star riflers on Liquid,
I know.
and
It's kind
if
of scary.
they have if Shake is still in the chat, I remember me and Shake were talking about it like at like the first stream that we did. He was like the perfect composition of a team. The way that things are going now is 3-star players, one kind of support player, and one IGL that goes in and makes space. Nitro goes in and makes space. You've just got the roles mixed up. Like OC needs to be a star, and Nap needs to be the like.
Well,
Nap
that's the
stopped being
problem.
so good.
They made Nap the support player, but it
Yeah, and he's
turns
just
out
still like
Nap
legit.
took the
Like,
support player role and went, I'm actually just way too fucking good. You kill
Yeah.
it. You can't. Like, literally, have you read these interviews with Nap? He was like, Yakinder came in one morning, told me I had to play Pit now. And he's like, I don't play Pit. Now I do. And
I
I'm
love
still
Nap.
going to post a 1.2 or whatever today. Like, he's just so fucking good this year. It's like actually insane. It's so dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
But no, I think like honestly, if they can get on the same page, which we haven't like fully seen them do, like you've seen these matches like where they're up, it gets close, they go down a lot, and then they pull it back. Like they don't seem comfortable all the time. Like it's not like a level of consistency
Yeah.
where you go into a game where you're like Liquid are guaranteed to win this, and they do. Like it still seems like a bit of a toss up sometimes where they get onto the server, but I think in finals, like there's 8 teams there. Like 2 of them, I don't think have a chance. Vitality, I still don't fully rate. I think that the fact that they actually won Pro League has done more damage to them because they were like, "Oh, we're title contenders now," and they've done nothing. They did nothing before, and they've done nothing
That
since.
was almost Liquid, which pisses me off.
No, but think about it in the long
They
term.
should
If
have
Liquid
won the
won,
BO5.
if
They won the
Liquid won that,
BO3 and they lost the BO5, and it's bullshit. And I'm mad.
if Liquid won that,
Ah,
who's to say that they don't just start like stroking themselves then, saying, "Oh, we're the best," and then they completely regress, which is what Vitality seemed to have done. Like
Vitality seems to have done it because Vitality don't seem to have any direction.
yeah.
Liquid at least have a direction. Vitality just kind of look lost, not knowing what they're doing here. That's the problem. So,
Yeah,
all
I think finals. That's my hot take.
right. That's more hopium than me. I think it's semis, and I think that's the realistic one. All right, Liam, I want to thank you so much for another episode of this. We are going to be back next week, and then Yakinder owes us a spot on the podcast, which we'll probably get right after the World Finals, since he didn't even think they were going to qualify.
We'll get him on when he gets announced as a top 10 player in the world.
Ooh, that'll be a good one. Oh, we should do a live stream. We should live stream every day the release of it, the drops. All right, with that, I'm Ryan. It's S2. This is Liam Slevin, Slave OCS. You're going to go to IAN Katowice. We're going to have a bunch of off-season content, which we're going to talk about next weekend. With that, I'm off to go make sushi for dinner. See ya.
See ya.